You are listening to Adulting with Ebony. Season 7 brings together neurodiversity, human design, and embodiment so that Gen X or millennial misfits and late diagnosed neurospices become empowered, embodied, and fully expressed. This is the show where I actively encourage you to feel your feelings rather than think them. Glow up, not grow up, and become full of yourself. Because who the fuck else should you be full of? Each week, I have real and raw conversations about what it takes to be fully resourced and have happy, healthy, intimate relationships as a dopamine-deficient adult wanting to create a better future by being the change that you want to see in the world. I am your host, Ebony Allard, aka Ebony Alchemy, a late diagnosed ADHDer, combined type and Asperger's in case you like specifics, artist, mystic, and self-actualization facilitator. I'm an international award-winning multiple brain integration technique master coach with special interest in embodied human design for neurodivergence. I've been in the personal development, creativity, and entrepreneurship spaces all of my life, and as a 5'2" emotional manifesting generator with a left angle cross of distraction, I am here to help you know what to trust and what to tune out. Each week, I share relatable, practical ways that mean you get to take less responsibility for more reward and safely remove your camouflage for more belonging, acceptance, and fulfillment. Ready? Let's go.
I'm 24. What is your map? So you've got your compass, right? You've got this internal navigation system that gives you an aha and an and helps you know what is for you and what's not for you, helps you live your values and live the life of plenty and bring everything towards you that you're looking for and navigate towards something in particular. But then you need a map. And the maps that I provide, particularly in Misfit to Maven, but all of the maps that I provide are really a way of discerning whose realm you are in and what rule you are operating under. So you've got this map, you've got this compass, sorry, and that's going to help you navigate the realm. But then you need to understand what the realm is made of, where everything is, what the rules are, how it operates in this land. And life and reality is completely fucking made up. And we all live under this rule that doesn't work for most of us, right? Like get a job, go to school, get a job, get married, get a pension, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's never been my thing, right? So I had to build my own map. And you can become masterful at living in your own world within this world, but you're going to need to know some basics first. A little bit like many, many years ago, when I was like 22, I did my yoga teacher training. And in order to be able to teach flawless, incredible, adaptable classes for the people who are in the room in that moment, you first have to have absolute mastery of the basics so that you can put them together in any way that you want. If you don't have those foundations, it is going to be really difficult for you to create that class on the fly. It is going to be really difficult for you to feel confident and good at it. You will, not be able to deliver. And there is no mastery without a real understanding and knowing and embodiment of the fundamentals or the foundations. And that is what M2M gives you, is those fundamentals, those foundations, so that you can then live any way that you want masterfully. And that's why I think it's so important to have your compass and your map. 25 is, we don't just have one brain, we have 5 brains, or 3 brains, 5 intelligences. And one of the modalities that I am trained in, that I use every single day in one way or another, is MBIT, which is multiple brain integration technique. Now, most of us live solely from our head brain, a lot of the time, if not all of the time. We have multiple intelligences that all have core competencies. And so it's really important to be giving the right task and jobs and responsibilities to the right person or to the right intelligence, right? Like if I want my house decorated, I am not going to ask I'm not going to ask a florist to do my electrics. I mean, they might be able to, but it's not their core competency, right? I'm not going to ask a again, this is kind of a butcher for flowers thing, right? But it's about going to the right intelligence for the right thing and really understand. And so it's like I wouldn't use a butter knife to operate with, and using a scalpel for my cutting my bread is also not ideal. Okay, now that's not to say that these things can't be done. They absolutely can, but it would be much easier to have the right tool for the job. And that is what we do when we're looking at multiple brain integration, is that rather than using your head brain for everything, we actually find the right core competency or the right intelligence. Now, all information in our body works from the root or from the gut upwards and is afferent. And that means that it gets to the head brain last. And the head brain's job is to make meaning, perceive, and understand. And that means that all of the information that is coming up, that's rising up to the top, it basically makes a story of it so that it will make sense. And that's cool. It's very clever. It is clever. You have a very clever brain that can make meaning out of anything. Mine is super fucking good at making meaning out of anything. And we get to let it do that. However, our gut brain, which is our first brain and is, really primal, is its core competencies are: is this me? Is it not me? Is this for me? Is it not for me? Is it safe? Is it not safe? Do I need to move or not move? Right? Like that, if that's the kind of basic premise of the gut brain. And the gut brain runs from just inside your mouth all the way down to your anus and everything in between, not just your guts, right? But it's everything in that space. And the core competencies of that intelligence are mobility, safety, and identity. Then we have the heart brain. Now, the heart, all about relating, about emoting, about feeling, about valuing, about growing the empathy and compassion out into the world and operating from a place of oneness and greatest and highest good for all. And so we want to give anything that is around feeling, emoting, valuing to our heart rather than our head, because it will make logical decisions, right? Rather than magical decisions. The hearts are magic. Then we also have our pelvic brain, which is connected. It's in our sacral, right? Which is sacred, which is connected to the sacred and is also a portal from the sky or from God's or creation itself. And so our pelvic brain is really like connected to and responsible for your deepest desires and what you are here for, what you are made for, what your creation experience is around. All of that wisdom, all of that ancient knowing connected to spirit and sacral, life, death, rebirth, all of that is in your pelvic brain. And then your autonomic nervous system plays a really big part in communication between all of them. And if it's scared, if it's tired, if it's mardy, if it's resentful, it is going to communicate between each brain and each intelligence in that way. And if it is happy, if it's healthy, if it's acting from its mature, wise adult, then those messages will be transported quickly and in a very helpful way. So that is one of the reasons why we really want to work on our autonomic health, so that the messages that are being passed between our intelligences are adult. So there you go. 26. Right ratios or balance. There is no such thing as balance, and balance is fleeting, and we are moving beings all of the time. The only thing that is consistent in life is change. And when we're aiming for balance, we are never going to be able to, it's a moving target, right? It's not a target that we're going to be able to reach. But when we work with right ratios instead, and we start using a value filter in that way, and we start looking at, are the ratios of my values or the what's leading or the energy I've got, is everything in the right ratio for this right now, then we can get much more helpful answers and live in a way that's much, much more empowering. And so I urge and invite you to look for the right ratios in any given day or moment rather than balance. 27, stone soup. Okay, so there are loads of different things I could say about stone soup, but it stems from, so the story of stone soup is the guy who arrives at the palace and has nothing and is hungry and says, did you know, if you let me into the palace, I can make your king the most incredible meal he's ever eaten just out of a stone, and produces a stone from his pocket. And so they let him in because they want to know what can be created from a stone. And then he proceeds to say, this soup would be even better if it had carrots, and this soup would be even better if it had any like scraps of meat, etc., etc. And then creates the most incredible meal for the king. And I tell the stone soup story as a way of getting you to identify whether you are taking scraps, whether you are being imaginative, whether you are trying to create something out of what is in the cupboards, rather than start from scratch, rather than ask for what you actually want, rather than be really direct and like, hey, I'm a great cook. Don't have any ingredients, but if you provide them for me, I will. Right? Like, so there's a real level of taking the lessons of stone soup and getting clear and being honest with yourself about what it is that you actually want and how you're going to create that. And are you communicating it in a way that is entertaining, malicious, passive aggressive, like there could be a million different ways, but really stone soup for me is an exercise in honesty and communication. 29. Life is meant to be lived in technicolor. It really is. Life is a beautiful, technicolor, rich experience. And for many, many years, I was living under the stairs, Harry Potter style, believing that was it. And I had absolutely no idea that I was living in a mansion, but spending my entire life in the cupboard under the stairs, and doing the personal development work that I've done, doing investing in one-to-one coaching, in personal development work, in shadow work, in spiritual work, in getting to know myself, in getting uncomfortable, in taking risks, in deciding that there's more available for me, is akin to switching on a light, noticing that there's a door, opening that door, and then walking out into the house mansion of your dreams with a garden and fields and a river, or a beach, or whatever it is that you desire, and whatever life in technicolor looks like for you, in complete and utter surround sound richness. There is so much more available for you. And in order for you to explore it, discover it, be in awe of it, live it, play in it, feel like you deserve it, first of all, you've got to switch on a light, recognize that there's a door, open it and walk through it. And that's scary. It means doing something different. It means getting out of your own way. And often it means stepping into the unknown. But life is meant to be lived in technicolor. And if you're not currently living a life that wows you every day, or at least most days, then I actively invite you to recognize that life is short and there is so much more available for you. Even if you don't believe it to be true, could you believe that it could be? Number 30, the way that you do anything is the way that you do everything. Attitude is attitude, and orientation is orientation. And even if you think that you're behaving one way in one area of your life and differently in another, you're still you. And what that means when I say the way you do anything is the way you do everything is that there are obvious parallels to how you be, how you do you. And one of the reasons that we work with multiple brain integration, one of the reasons that we work with the entire body and the wisdom, one of the reasons I look at your patterning and your programming and your all of those pieces is that when we change how you do you, who you be changes, right? When you change who you be, then you change what you do, then you change what you have. And doing it from the outside in might give you the semblance of success, but it isn't going to make you feel any different. But when we change who you be on the inside, everything on the outside changes. It has to. And sometimes those changes are not comfortable. When I integrated and changed who I be into somebody who was more soft, more feminine, more flexible, more surrendered, more in the now, less controlling, less controlled, less rigid, more air, more fire, more whatever. When I did that, my whole life changed. Friends left, the business crumbled, all sorts of different things shifted because who I be changed. So everything around me changed. And what I see a lot of people do as the change starts to happen is hold on, right? Because it's scary. But if you can be the embodiment of grace, if you can be the embodiment of your values, it will shift and change quicker. And what is then meant for you, what is next, will fill that void. And in my experience, and I have been through it a lot, I have my son in the 8th house. I have two planets and my two planets in the 12th house. It's a lot. The way that I have reincarnated, the way that I am shifting and changing who I be in this world and this life, right? And when you change who you are, you change how you do. When you change how you do, everything changes. And that's what I mean when I say the way that you do anything is the way that you do everything. And it's all about who you be. And I love to support people in holding their core and being more them and having inner strength, inner leadership. I often liken my work, especially in body design, to the Pilates of the soul, right? Like we want to hold your inner core so that you're really strong, so that evolution, shifts and change don't floor you, but get to be exciting. And that's that. 33. Oh no, I think I missed one. I think I missed a few. Okay, where am I? 31. Action breeds clarity, inaction breeds doubt. I feel like that's pretty certain and pretty clear. However, I'm going to explain it briefly. When we take action, even if it isn't what you want, you get that clarity of, oh, no, not this. When you do nothing, you don't move forward, you do not get clarity. In fact, the longer you are in action, the more options become available, or the more you doubt yourself, the less you trust, the more the more overwhelmed you become. So if you are feeling unclear, take action. It doesn't have to be the right action. There's no such thing as right action. But when you take action, you will get clarity, whether it is a yes or a no. When you take no action, you will continue to be in doubt, and that doubt will grow. 32. You cannot theorize implementation. The only way to do it is to do it. I see so many people trying to chess play their life, right? And be like, if I do this, then this will happen, then that will happen. You do not know what will happen until you do it. So do it. The only way to do it is to do it. 33, it moves. One of the things and one of the reasons for that is that life moves, right? Now you can do your driving theory and you can know all the rules of the road. You can learn everything there is to learn about sex and feel like, okay, I understand the other person, how, the other bodies work, understand how my body works, like all of these things. Okay, cool. These things in theory are one thing. When you then start doing them, they move. The car moves, other people move. When you first start learning, when you first start driving rather than theorizing driving, what actually happens is that your time is not spent in mirror signal maneuver. It is not spent in which gear am I in. It is spent in who else is on the road, what else is going on, what am I responding to out there, and really recognizing that life moves. Same with sex, right? Like you can have all of this theory in your head about what you're going to do, but if you actually want to enjoy it, if you actually want to be in it, if you actually want to be, intimate, you've got to understand that it moves. It's happening in the now. There is an other person there, and you cannot theorize or have any clue of what alchemy or what co-creation is going to happen until you get involved, and that is where magic happens. 34, overcomplicating it. Are you overcomplicating it? Why learning to say what you see is important and still, that's what it says on the tin. Okay, I really struggle with overcomplicating it. I have been overcomplicating it. I feel like I want a t-shirt that says overcomplicating it since 1980. I'm always told that I overcomplicate things, but the truth is I'm autistic and I have a bottom up rather than top down operating system. And I am not trying to overcomplicate it. I just see a lot of things. And I'm a 2-line, so I don't always see myself and I often need reflection. And so I'm not necessarily overcomplicating it, but I could really benefit from some help of somebody else saying what they see so that I can go, oh, that's how you see it. Thanks. Or, yeah, again, we are not meant to live in isolation. And so many of us live in isolation or don't express ourselves. And the magic is in expression. And this is why all of the work that I do, all of my life is about dedicated to empowerment, embodiment, and full self-expression, because otherwise, we're living in a vacuum. And I love the way that these are lined up. Very clever, Ebony. 35, anyone can be spiritual in a cave. And that means being on retreat, learning how to be love and light and love yourself, like whatever. Like anyone can be spiritual in a cave. If you are alone, you can love yourself. If you are alone, you've got great boundaries. If you are alone, it's all easy and you're very successful, right? It's when you bring other people in that you realize it moves and that your boundaries are crossed and that you don't know how to communicate and like all of those things, right? So the magic happens in being in relationship. We are relational beings, and the idea is to be messy, get it wrong, relate to each other, co-create, have this like generative experience, okay? Which leads me on to 36, which is that it is happening for you and not to you. And we are in victim mode when we're like, why does this keep happening to me? The universal laws are awesome, and message me universal laws if you want that program. I can dig it out for you, or training. There are 11 universal laws. They link to the energetic bodies. Like all of this stuff is going to be in Kismet Flicks, by the way. Best place for you to go will be Kismet Flicks when it comes. And if you think it's happening to you, you are in victim, not creator. If something is constantly happening to you, then it is happening for you, and it is a reflection and an assignment. There is someone somewhere or something somewhere attempting to say, look at this, look at this, look at this. And you are going, why does this keep happening to me? Rather than, there's this pattern, this thing that keeps repeating. What is the gift here? What is the opportunity here? Why is this happening for me? What do I get to learn? What do I get to do differently? How do I get to respond or react to this happening. And ultimately, if you're in my world, then you are somebody who gets that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. And that means having a physical and emotional experience and then expressing it for the greater and highest good of all. And if that doesn't resonate with you, bye. Right? Like, why are you here? That is the kind of modus operandi of my world and my realm and my work, is really understanding you're a spiritual being having a human experience. And even like that doesn't mean that you can't be in a woe is me moment. I have many of them where I'm like, why is this happening to me? But then we get to alchemize it and we get to share and we get to shift and we get to learn, we get to grow, and we get to tell a really good story, because a good day is a good day and a bad day is a great story. 37, letting yourself be supported and loved is uncomfortable. The greatest work that you will ever do is learning to let love in, to let people support you, let people love you, let people cherish you, let people be there for you. It's a great gift. And yeah, it's uncomfortable, particularly if that wasn't something that you experienced in your formative years. I know it. I spent the first 12 weeks of my life in an incubator alone. Trust me when I tell you, it is easier for me to do it myself and alone. But that's not the experience I want for my life. I want to be fully resourced and I want great intimacy. And in order for me to have that experience, I've got to let people help. I've got to let people support me. I've got to let that love in. And that is uncomfortable. Being in joy, being in love, being in comfort, for a lot of us is way more uncomfortable than being in pain, being addicted to cycles of survival and depletion. And if you want to have more of the resource and more of the love, the only way to do that is to let people in and to allow yourself to be supported. Where am I up to? 38, what you actually want. Knowing what you actually want is the hardest part. Okay, in the 10 plus years that I have been working full-time as a coach, working with awesome human beings like you, the thing that people find the hardest, or that they bypass and skate over, is the bit of figuring out what it is that you actually want. And that is because people want to do, they want the results, and so they keep moving. But if you don't know what you actually want, when you just build what you think you want or what other people tell you want, or you're just in a hurry and you don't want to be late, so you pick a thing and you start to build it, you'll get there and then you won't want it, and then you'll have to start again, right? So it is worth taking the time to figure out what it is that you actually want. Now, most of us don't know what we actually want because we're not connected to our bodies or our sacral in particular. If you're not connected to your sacral and like your deepest desires, then you've got no idea what your deepest desires are, then you've got no idea what you actually want. That's the most important bit. Spend some time connecting with your body so that you can know what you want, so that you can build the thing that you want, so that you're not just building for the sake of building and being busy for the sake of being busy and then have to start again. 39, people show you who they are, let them. I love the let them philosophy, and the let them philosophy is let them, right? People, if someone is angry at you, let them. If someone wants to love you, let them. If somebody is showing you that they are not available for you, let them. If somebody wants to tell you that you're wrong, let them, right? Like, this is one of the biggest lessons of my life, is let them. And I feel like I've pretty much embodied let them. No, there's loads more to come. I'm pretty sure I will get a load more lessons in it. I don't need any right now. But some of the real shit that happened for me in the last 4 years has really led me to a place of embodying the let them philosophy. And if you get really wobbled by other people's attitudes, theories, responses, all of the things, if you'd like to be a little bit more, let them. Come and play in my world. I would love to assist you in that. And when I talk about moving from self-doubt to self-trust, part of that is moving to a place of let them. 40, who you be is the most important thing. Who you be is the most important thing. I feel like I've alluded to, touched on, talked about that throughout these life lessons. And I don't know that I've got very much more to add to that. But when you die, when you reach the end of your life, you will not care what you have left, right? You might, but no one will remember you for what you left. No one will remember you for what you said, what you did, right? They will remember who you were, who you be, the essence of you. They might remember the other bits. There are some people who have like really good memories for the details, but the most important part is who you be. And when you reach the end of your life, when you are weighing up, did I live well? I promise you, it will not be about how much you acquired, how anyone else saw you. It will be about how they felt you, how you felt about yourself, which all comes back to who you be. 41, self-expression or lack of is the greatest cause of disease, or is the cause of most disease. It's a big statement. I don't know that I've said this before anywhere, and I believe it. I realized it the other day. I am 44 and experiencing some perimenopause things, and seeing a lot of people around me experiencing them and seeing it all talked about much more. Also, watching our parents and not mine, other people at the moment, and I hope never, but watching other people's parents going through degenerative illnesses of some sort. And my belief around this, my working theory, supposition on it, is that what we actually have is a self-expression problem. When we are suppressing, pushing down, to push down a button, we depress it, right? So when we are pushing down our expression, when we're not sharing how we feel or what we believe or what we know, or we're not creating art for the sake of it, when we're in a society that stops us from expressing our full and wild and true selves, we are depressing or repressing those things. And that is what leads to dis-ease or disease or illness in the body, in the mind, in the soul. And in order to enjoy the menopause experience or the shift into a second spring, you get to express yourself fully and you get to be your wild and true self. And then I believe, and I will be, living proof of this, we'll see, that then gets to be a pleasurable alchemical experience rather than something that is full of symptoms and dis-ease. And similarly, I see things like cancer or Alzheimer's, and I really want to make the caveat, right, that I'm not saying disease is your fault or that it's created by us, or I'm not saying any of those things. What I'm saying is that the problem that we have in life is a self-expression problem, that people are not feeling supported, that they're not asking for help, that they're not expressing their full selves, that they're not, living your full potential means expressing yourself fully. And when we don't do that, it has consequences. 42, being full of yourself is an act of love, not grandeur. Now, we're designed to be medicine and entertainment and guides and have impact on one another and for each other. I truly believe we are designed to live in synergy and interdependence. And when I look at the people that I attract into my world, particularly through a lens of astrology or human design, and I look at the electromagnetic field and the gates that people have in relation to the ones that I have, I find this beautiful synastry. I see where I either attract people who are very, very similar and therefore want some mentoring experience, right? How is it to have these things or this experience in life? Share some of your codes with me. Or I see people who have either the channel pal, so we're together, we make a particular channel, or the programming partner for each other. And that is so fucking cool because it's evidence for what I've always known, which is that we are medicine for each other and we call each other into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. We have soul contracts with each other to model, mirror, and messenger for one another, right? Which is just so cool. And when you are not being your full self, you are limiting that. And to be your full self doesn't mean to be overextended, doesn't mean to be in excess. It means to be full, not bloated, not, one of those things. So it's not about moving into a place of grandeur. It's not about being grandiose. It's not about domineering or dominating or being too much, right? This is about being Goldilocks. It's about being just the Goldilocks amount of yourself, being full, satiated, enjoying being yourself, and doing so from a place of love allows you to be the mirror, messenger, medicine, miracle for other people and for yourself. 43, timing is hilarious and part of the cosmic joke. Time. Oh my God, time. I have a real issue with time, and also I love time. Time is hilarious. And the more I see it as hilarious, the more I get to enjoy the cosmic joke, right? There's nothing worse than feeling like a joke is at your expense, which is what I feel a lot of the time with time. Time allows us to meet at the same place in the same location. It also gets us to allows us to know how long something is going to take. This, for example, this episode, I'm looking at it now. I'm like, oh, hour and a half, great. Maybe I will get my 3 episodes. We will divide it out. In fact, I've pretty much decided that I'm going to see if Kelly will divide it out into 3 episodes. So now you will get this over the next 3 weeks instead of making it the last episode, right? Hilarious. I don't even know where I was going with that. But timing is hilarious. And when you see it as hilarious, you will enjoy it. When you feel like everyone is laughing at you or the joke is at your expense, then it's painful. And that has been my relationship with time. And so I may as well get in on the joke and find it funny, because if I don't, I feel like it's just really, really unpleasant. And number 44, you are the universe. And so that's the whole point, right? Like, we are individuation. We are the universe in human form, expressed through our unique human filter, the filter of me and the filter of you and the filter, right? Each of us, but we are also fully connected. We are one. We are the universe. And so the cosmic joke is on us because we are creating and have created, and because there is no time, right? Time is an illusion, this whole experience for our learning, development, and growth, for our entertainment, for whatever, right? But we are the universe. And so if you are the universe, stop being angry at the universe, because you're already being angry at yourself. There are my 44 life lessons for you. Like I said, at some point we will write this up as a blog. So when that's done, it will go in the show notes if you're finding this later. I now have to go and I don't have to, but I'm going to re-record the intro to say this is coming over 3 parts. And you get to enjoy the weirdness of the time loop that is, because you're now going to get this thing that I recorded in one go, expecting it to be maybe 45 minutes in 3 parts, with me re-recording the intro afterwards and adding it on. Hilarious. I love you. Have a absolutely gorgeous summer. Please stay in touch. Please come and join the free Maven Haven so that I can chat with you over the break, see how you all are. That's the bell saying it's time for another call for me. Yeah, on the 23rd of July, come and wish me a happy birthday and leave a review and share one of these episodes with someone and tag me. Thank you so much.